Hello, everyone. Thank you for letting me spend some time with you today. Uh, Please remember to hit those like, share, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. Just a friendly reminder. And something else, if you're listening to the audio only today, you might want to actually look at the video. I'm going to show some pictures here in a little bit that I think you might be interested in. Some of you may have seen them, but I'm sure all of you have not yet. And I know who took these pictures, so that makes a big difference, at least to me. I'm gonna look at something today. Some of you know about, some of you don't. Some of you may have heard it, and might have mixed feelings about it. But I'm hoping to present it in a way you've not thought of it before. I like to do that. I like to change the questions. Now, tradition tells us that it was Constantine's mother, Helena, who selected the site of Mount Sinai to be on the Sinai Peninsula in Egypt. Eusebius actually indicates, and he writes, that Helena, the Empress Helena, by the way, did indeed travel through the Holy Land and identify certain places where, she thought things looked like they would have taken place. Right? There was nothing scientific about it. It was just I'm the Empress, and I'm saying this is where this happened. That's kind of how these places got named. There's actually nothing in writing, no historical writings to tell us that it was her who actually did name the place for Mount Sinai, where St. Catherine's Cathedral sits today. However, there were monks living there who claimed that it had to be the Mountain of Moses. This is where Moses took the mixed multitude, right here where we sit. The problem is that it was all tradition. It was all hearsay. There's nothing there to base it on. There's no reliable, tangible evidence. None whatsoever. Now, several years ago, 30 some years ago now, I think, a man named Ron Wyatt made his way into the Saudi Arabian desert, and he followed the biblical narrative given to us from Moses. Moses himself writes it down. He brought back pictures that prove at least a Hebrew presence was in what is now known as the land of Midian in Saudi Arabia. Now, since then, many, many others, they've traveled there and they've returned with information that might surprise some people, right? The local people there know the area, the mountain known as Jabal al-Lawz. They know it as the Mountain of Moses. The local people have known this for centuries. It's nothing new to them. It's not a new discovery to the people who was living there. It might be new to us, but the folks that live there, they're like, yeah, this is where it happened. And I can understand that because I grew up in a very historical area, and you take it for granted. You really do. You have visitors come in like, oh, this happened here? Yeah, so everybody knows that, right? There's a difference between knowing it and seeing it with fresh eyes, I guess is a good way to say it. Now, I've not been there yet. I know a lot of people who have. One person in particular been there several times. I've been invited. She said, you need to go, you need to go, you need to go. The timing just didn't work. Yeah, we weren't available when everybody else was. Let's just put it that way. The timing was just terrible. Could have made one work if we worked out a little bit harder, but you know how it is. You know how it is. And quite honestly, I don't need to see it when I have reliable sources to tell me what's there. That's terrible, isn't it? I know a lot of people want to go and they want to see it for themselves. As long as I have some reliable sources, I'm happy. Oh my. Now, when Pam first came back, she was excited. She was just, well, that's an understatement. She has been there several times, become extremely familiar with the area, extremely familiar with the people. Had her on a podcast a few years ago. And hopefully the next time she comes to visit, and I know she watches this, next time she comes to visit, I'm going to pin her down and sit down, and we're going to do another one about this. But in the meantime, I'm going to give you something that hopefully will make you think. And that's what I try to do. I want you to think. I want you to be able to say, oh, I didn't know that. I never thought of it that way before. And that's what I want to do. So let's start with Moses in the land of Midian, right? Different than Egypt, obviously. And the Bible describes Moses as tending the flock of Jethro. Now, no good shepherd is going to take his flock to a place where there's no food. And even though today, it looks like a desert, I've been told by the people that I've talked to, not who have just been there, but who are from there, that many, many years ago, what we think of as a desert today would have been more described as a Serengeti. It was a vast grassland. But in the last 3,500 years, things have, climate's changed. There's been earthquakes. There's been volcanic activity near the area, not right there, but near the area. So things have changed. Again, when Pam came back, she says, it just fits. Everything's there. She was confident she'd found it. Well, not found it, been there. Let's put it that way. There's plenty of room for the mixed multitude to have been there. There's plenty of evidence that this location actually is Mount Sinai in the land of Midian in current day Saudi Arabia. Paul even writes in Galatians 4:25, Hagar stands for Mount Sinai in Arabia. Now he's giving some other history lessons, or not really history lessons here, but he's explaining something else. But in this writing, he specifies Mount Sinai in Arabia. So the location of Mount Sinai was known to the people at that time. Right? We've just lost it, or had lost it. People who live there know about it. People who lived years ago knew about it. So hopefully you might be asking, well, you talk about evidence. What evidence is there? Well, let us start there we go. With that picture right there. That is the split rock at Horeb. Now remember Exodus 17:6, behold, I will stand there before you by the rock at Horeb. And when you strike the rock, water will come out of it and people will drink. Now this monument stands about 60 feet tall. There is extreme evidence of water washing down from it. That is the source of the water that comes from the wash. And I'm going to say this, when I chose to use these pictures, I did have to enlarge some, but that is the only thing I've done. I have not edited them in any other way other than to enlarge some just for clarity. The next one we're going to look at, now this is cool. Now, before we get to the mountain, right? Before we get to the mountain, in Numbers, you're going to learn about the fiery serpents, and this is what is coming known as the snake rock. And it tells the story of the serpents in the desert. It describes it completely. And if you want a little closer look here, there we go. There's one of the snakes, or a couple of the snakes. And you have heard me talk before that those etchings next to that squiggly snake line look like wings to me. But, that's about the only evidence there is for that. So, and that's a story for another time. Now, this next picture might give you something really to think about because, oh, look at that. The altar of the golden calf. You see the etching there of a couple bowls, right? Uh-oh. Does this look like Hebrew presence in the land of Midian, current day Saudi Arabia? It looks like it to me. And from talking to the people who have been there, they are convinced. There's plenty of other evidence. When Pam was on one trip, they found evidence of Hebraic style foundation stones, I guess is a good way to explain that. And they had a very well-known archaeologist with them. He says, yeah, these people lived in these. This is what it looked like. Other things have been located. Other things have been found. The graveyard of the 3,000 is there. Everything is there. Everything is there. And it's amazing that the people who live there today, since the new crown prince is sort of running the country, they're allowing tourists to come in and, as long as you can get a visa, you can go there and you can visit. It's that simple. Is it expensive? A little bit. Living Passages offers trips there. If you want to check them out, do yourself a favor. Do yourself a favor. Don't worry about the traditions. Worry about the facts. Don't bother me with the facts. My mind's already made up. Don't be that person. Don't be that person. There is no evidence anywhere close to this on the Sinai Peninsula at St. Catherine's. The rocks are absolutely crying out that the word of our Creator is true. And yes, I know we claim that we don't need evidence to have faith, right? Because faith is the evidence of things unseen, things not seen. But we live in a world today where a lot of people are looking for something tangible. They want a sign. They want to see something. They want to have that knowledge that everything they read in the Bible is absolutely true. And all we have to do is look around. All we have to do is look around. We don't use this evidence to base our faith on, though. That's the difference. We don't use the evidence to base our faith. We use our knowledge of our Creator to base our faith in Him. What this evidence does is it gives us a little bit of comfort, knowing that the history that we learn from the Bible is reliable. And it's far more reliable than any tradition that we could have. Now, not all traditions are bad, but the traditions that interfere with the facts, the traditions that get in between us and our Creator, those are the ones we need to be very wary of and probably not do them anymore. When a tradition interferes with your relationship, when a tradition interferes with your relationship with our Creator, you need to seriously, seriously question the tradition, not the Creator. Hopefully this gives you something to think about in a much different way than you've ever thought about this before. Just because the evidence is there, we don't base our faith in the evidence. We base our faith in our belief that our Creator is real on the things we don't see. But the things that we can see gives us the comfort knowing that His word is absolutely reliable because it's true. Something to think about until next time. And until next time, many, many blessings, everyone.